morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, E-Business for Small and Medium-Sized Businesses. My name is Malini Krishna, and I'm a Senior Business Strategist for Pursuit in our Advisory Services Division. For those of you who are new to our programming, Pursuit is a community-focused alternative lender. Our goal is to ensure that our clients not only have access to the capital they need through our loan programs, but also the strategic guidance and business expertise to thrive. I'm excited to be joined today by Erik, the President and CEO of Endorphin Digital Marketing. Endorphin develops strategies to increase visibility, improve communications, build brands, and generate revenue for businesses of all sizes. And Erik is a close partner of Pursuit. He has worked with numerous clients on improving their digital presence to enhance brand awareness and improve e-commerce activities. So welcome, Erik. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Malini. It's great to be here.
Before we get started on this big topic, today's session will provide an overview of tools and strategies for small businesses who want to improve their presence online, specifically to increase sales through their digital platforms. Although Erik has a wide variety of expertise, just to make sure that we don't run over and have a lot of overlap into other conversations that we could have, we are going to keep it focused on this topic, but if you have any questions or concerns, I know Erik is a very good partner of us and has worked with a lot of clients, so we're happy to take these conversations offline and meet with you one-on-one. If you are a Pursuit client, you can always reach out to your business advisor. We can make connections and have conversations about marketing, as well as other conversations you might have on how to improve business performance. If you do have questions today, of course, feel free to ask them. You can drop them in the questions box of the GoToWebinar. I will be monitoring that regularly, and I know Erik and I are going to have a pretty robust conversation today about this topic. And so let's just dive right in. Thanks, Erik.
Okay, thank you, Malini. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. We're going to talk about sort of e-business for small and mid-sized businesses, and what does that mean? So, you know, today everybody has a smartphone and everybody goes to Google to search for things or sees things on social media, and they prefer, in many cases, to buy online, whether that's buying products or booking services or, you know, making appointments for different things or whatever it is. So sort of the self-service model is quite beneficial for many different businesses. So that's kind of what we mean by e-business for businesses, because you know, every business can move towards an e-business model, and so that's kind of the idea of today's class. So you heard about me and what I do. So so this is just my contact information, and we're based up in Troy, New York. Again, that's a little bit about our company, but so the main question that we get asked quite a bit is what's the best tools to get more out of our online marketing? And you know, every business, there's kind of no simple answer to this, because businesses are all different. You know, there's you know, you can't really compare like a hair salon with a, you know, insurance brokerage or CPA firm. They're just, you know, there's just very different models and what customers expect and how they interact with a particular business. So rather than sort of going through some specific types of tools, we'll talk a little bit more about sort of strategies or tactics, and then sort of, but giving you sort of this all couched in how does the online world really work at this point in terms of business. So, and we'll show you this 5-step e-business process, which we've developed, you know, since working in this area. So, you know, my company is over 15 years old, and I've been doing just digital marketing for, well, I really started in 1995 when I moved to Silicon Valley in California and worked with high-tech startups. So, I have been doing this a lot, and this is kind of all we focus on. So what we're going to talk about this kind of sample scenario. So say you are a company that provides, lawn care, lawn mowing, that kind of stuff. So how do people find you? Well, people generally, do a Google search. What kind of businesses are doing these kinds of services, perhaps in my neighborhood? I might ask my neighbors. I might check a couple of, social media platforms and just see, am I seeing anything from anybody that I might want to talk to? So, again, you're looking for, what are the services they provide? Do they work in my neighborhood? It doesn't help for me to find a lawn mowing service in Colorado when I live in New York, for example. Maybe you get some idea of cost. Maybe you want to see some reviews or what we call social proof to find out that, a particular company we might want to talk to has a good reputation. So, then the next step in this process, once I've found a couple of companies to approach, I'll do a little research. Maybe I'll call, maybe I'll ask for a quote or a proposal, that kind of thing. So that's sort of the scenario we're thinking about, and it could be any company, but we're just going to use this one. And so then, if we are this company, this lawn care company, how can we improve our chances that people will find us and contact us? Okay, so that's the question, right? Is, it's easy to say, here's some strategies and stuff, but we want to put ourselves in this position of, this is my company, how can I get people to find me? So we're going to kind of go through this e-business process or e-business roadmap, which we created this after helping lots and lots of clients. This is sort of how we think about it from a business's perspective. Okay, so we'll go through each of these steps fairly quickly, and again, if you have any questions or things like that, please let me know. But so the start of this process is we have a website, and our website is the home base on the internet. Importantly, it's the only digital property that we actually own. So we don't own a Facebook profile or a Google listing or a Twitter account. We are just using those. And those companies can change or go away, and then our profile goes with it. So our website is really important in this, and for a whole number of reasons, and we'll go through these in a minute. Once we have our website, then we're thinking about optimization, and again, there's sort of that just means making it better. And there's a couple of different things we're going to think about in terms of how do we make our website better. Then we're going to think about our communications. This is our sort of ongoing communications to keep in front of our clients and keep, sharing news about what's going on, services, deals, offers, etc., things like that. Then there's specific types of ad campaigns or promotional campaigns. So those are more short-term communications where we're trying to perhaps drive lead generation or sales, that kind of thing. And then the last step is analyze or an analysis step, where we look at, we go back and we look at all these things. What's happening? What does our website website traffic look like? How many visitors are we getting? What are they interested in, etc. And then we're going to use that information to go back and make all of these things better. Okay, and if you keep going through this sort of iterative process to improve things, to analyze it, to go back and improve things, keep analyzing it, you will reach growth. You will grow. And so this is really a good model for you to think about. What do I need to do to get more out of our digital marketing? So again, we'll start with a couple of these, go through a couple of these steps here, and talk a little bit more about them. So the website, again, this is sort of the digital home base for our company. It's sort of the central hub of communications and information, and this includes our branding and our values, the image of our organization, all that sort of stuff. Again, the website's the only digital property you actually own, so it's very, very important. And also the website is the foundation for all SEO, or search engine optimization. So, you can't really optimize a Facebook page or a LinkedIn company page. Those don't really, it doesn't really work that way, but you can optimize the SEO for your website.
Erik, we have a couple questions just about, I have a lot of presence on Facebook, and someone else actually mentioned LinkedIn. How do I draw them back into my website?
The magic links. It's, the little hyperlink is such a genius idea and such a great tool, because now you can drive people back to your website with links from information that are in your social posts from any of the social media platforms.
So don't ignore them entirely, but make them, whatever you post there, have them come back to your website, is what you're saying.
Generally speaking, whenever you can drive people back to your website, the better, because then you are going to see more of what happens. That's that one step closer to making a sale, so we've got to get people back to our website. So it's a good question. And then just a little bit of insight in terms of, thinking about your website. The most visited pages on any website are the home, the about us, and perhaps the team, okay? And the reason for that is, people are looking for, again, sort of social proof. Who is this company? Especially when it comes to like professional services types things, who's behind this company? Where do they get their expertise? Do they have good reputations? Who are their customers? What are their services? Things like that. So these are pages that are really critical for every website. After those sort of 2 or 3 pages, then it's the products and services pages, so information about whatever you're selling, and then information about your customers or testimonials. So showing the results or the benefit from your work through the voice of your customers. So, I can say I'm great all day long, but if my customers are saying that I'm great, that has a lot more weight to it, a lot more credibility. So that is something that is very important. We'll talk about that more too. So again, our website should be used to sort of build our brand, to tell our story, to show the work that we've done, that kind of information. In the online world, appearances do matter. So, if your website doesn't look very professional and doesn't have good information on it, that matters, because your abundant competitors are one click away on the internet. So, this sort of appearances matters, meaning, good, easy to read website, all, good images, good photos, professional, blah, blah, blah. Very, very important. A really important thing that marketers always talk about, and people don't talk about enough, is we need to make our website about our customer, right? And all our marketing communications should be about our customer. They should not be about us. And those kinds of websites do not work as well as companies that are focused more on your customer. Meaning, what do we do for work? Well, we help our customers do this. And through our work, here's how we have helped customers. That's what you should be talking about in all your marketing, but especially your website and, all other online marketing.
Erik, when you're redoing websites, is there a common thing that you see that people are missing on their websites that should be included?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's, many times there's not good enough information about, who is your customer, how can we help these customers with their needs? And then the social proof, showing, hey, here's what we've done for customers, and here's the benefit of whatever we did, or here's photos, before and after photos, for example. So a lot of those are some of the things that just don't really get talked about enough in many cases.
I know you and I have had the discussion of make the decision easy to say yes to your company.
Yes.
And that's what I'm really hearing throughout this.
Yeah, and as we go through a little further into this, we'll talk about sort of the sales funnel and how you target people in their decision making. So we'll get to that in a couple of minutes.
Great.
The next thing is sort of, are you embracing e-commerce and selling online? You should be. Everybody should be moving more in this direction. Even consulting companies or services-based companies, you can do a lot of things online to help your customers, make it easy to do whatever it is they need to do on your website when they have the time to do it. So whether it's selling products, but maybe it's selling services, maybe it's booking services, maybe scheduling services, maybe it's offering consultations or things like that. Maybe it's letting people pay their bills online. Things like that are really important to, again, sort of, we want to give people the chance to buy our stuff or hire us, make it as easy as possible. And a self-service model, it does make that a lot easier in many cases. And then the other thing, make it easy for people to contact you. I don't know how many websites we see that it's just, their mailing or office address or retail store address isn't prominently available. There's no email address or phone number to call to reach somebody. All things like that. And we really need to think about, again, how do we want to help our customers get through the whole sale cycle? Okay, so back to your question, Malini, about how do we get people to come to our website, is the magic hyperlink. Links from all sorts of different places can drive people back to your website. And, once you have a website and it's pretty good and you're on some social media and the idea is, where can we get links from? Okay, so you might write articles, you might try and get interviewed, you might try and, offer special offers to, whatever, maybe it's your Chamber of Commerce, you provide some sort of free offer for chamber members or discounted offer, things like that that can also drive people back to your website or create a link back to your website. But the more links that go back to your website and the more people that visit your website from links from other places, the more SEO authority or the better your SEO performance will be, because Google will see all those links, they will see all the traffic going to your website, and then if people are staying on your website and visiting a few pages, Google's going to say, well, the machines are going to say, well, this was a pretty good website, so we should probably show this to more people. So then Google will start showing your website to more people. That's how it works. So very, very important to, have these links back to your website, to different pages on your website. So real quickly, what kind of tools should we use to build our website? So WordPress is sort of the typical main thing. The only problem with WordPress is it's very complicated. It's code based, so if you don't know HTML code, you're going to have to hire somebody, and that gets expensive. So, WordPress websites are good, but they're very flexible, but they're complicated. And you also need to spend money on a regular basis to maintain that website. Even if you don't change anything on the website, you still have to spend money to maintain it. So, WordPress is great, but there are other tools that we like. So Wix is sort of an easy to use all-in-one website builder, great tools. We really like Wix. We've been using it for over 10 years, and our website is in Wix. We just think it's great because there's no code, there's no external tools, nothing, no external hosting. So you don't need to know any programming to make changes to your website. Squarespace, and there's a couple others, are very similar to Wix, but we've worked in all of them, and we still think Wix is the best. It's better than Squarespace, better than Weebly, better than whatever other tools. GoDaddy has tools, Constant Contact has a website builder. Wix is still the best one. And then there's Shopify, which is, if you're an e-commerce business, that's probably what you're going to use. And it's great, has everything in it. It has point of sale systems and all that stuff built in. It's great. You don't really need programming knowledge. However, it gets expensive very quickly. So it does start at $29 a month, but then it gets very expensive very quickly. The more you sell, the more products you have, etc. So again, depends what you're looking for and how you're going to use your website. But again, we want people to be able to change the information on their website quickly and easily without having to pay somebody to do it. So that's why one of the reasons, another reason we like Wix. So, all right, so that's the website. Now go to step 2 here is sort of the optimization sort of step. And there's 2 sides of this. One is sort of the, hey, make sure we have our website up to date, make sure we have, we're adding information, blogs, reviews, stories, or case studies, whatever. All that information we're continuing to add to it. So that's kind of optimization. And then there's the technical optimization of SEO. And so, the question is, are you getting found by the right people at the right time? And have you gone through, keyword research and implemented these keywords on your page and all that sort of stuff? So those are sort of the 2 sides of optimization, which you really have to think about. So from a information perspective, branding's all about consistency. And so we want to make sure that our message and our appearance and our all that stuff, it looks similar, looks cohesive. If somebody gets a letter or a postcard in the mail and they look at your website, they look at email, they look at social posts, etc., they all clearly look the same so that people know who you are and remember who you are. Okay, so that's sort of that side of the optimization part. The other side, the technical side, is sort of the the SEO, the keyword analysis, understanding what words and phrases do customers use to search for you. So depending on what industry you're in, you really have to be careful about staying away from industry jargon, especially in like financial services and IT and there's others, but you don't use technical terms that your customers might not use, because then they're never going to find you when they're searching in Google. Okay, so here's part of the topic of really understanding your customers. How do they search for you? What are they looking for? How can you make this as easy as possible for them to buy? So that is very important. So then, once you kind of get your keywords set that you want to target, then you go through this process, which is quite technical in terms of using those keywords in page URL, the meta description, title tag, H1 tag, header of the text, blah 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 blah. So the SEO is very complicated and very expensive, because it's so competitive across the whole internet. Okay. And then again, the third very important phase of optimization is getting links back to your website. So this is something that you should always be spending some time on regularly, sort of a never-ending process. But again, where else can you share your website and information to? Like your Chamber of Commerce, perhaps, other professional associations, or the news. It's great to get covered in the newspaper, and those kinds of things will really help you in terms of getting more people back to your website, that kind of stuff. Okay. So a couple of things for us to really know about in terms of this optimization stuff is Google Analytics. That's a free tool that sort of helps you see and understand type of information or the visitors on your website and what they do. Okay, very, very important and very powerful. And we'll talk about that more in the analysis stage. And then there's two really good tools for SEO, for the kind of technical stuff, and that's SEMrush and Moz. So those are two really good tools to know about if you're going to sort of dive into the SEO side of things. So now we get past the website, past the optimization. Now we're thinking about communication. So it's really important to remember that every single consumer has alternatives. Okay, so your competition again is one click away. So you've got to stay in touch with your clients, with potential clients, with your friends, with your vendors, with your chambers, with all that sort of stuff, so people keep you in mind, get to really know you, and remember you when they or somebody else needs your services or products or whatever. Okay, so this sort of ongoing communication, it's your website, social media, email, maybe texting, SMS, maybe video, maybe digital advertising, all these sort of different kinds of tools to keep your name out there, to keep building your brand, to keep reminding people what you do. And then for those of you that have done sales training, we know from like Sandler training, for example, that people like doing business with people they know, like, and trust. So we're making sure that people know us and remember us, that they like us, that we're honest, that we do a good job, that we have customers, and that we're trustworthy. We're going to say what we do. We're going to give you good value for your money. Again, social media is a great tool for sharing and for keeping your name out there in front of people. One question we always ask is, do I have to be on all these social channels? And our answer to that is no, not really. We really think if you pick one or maybe two that are, really focused at your target market, then, and be super active on those, in terms of posting things, interacting with other posts, asking questions, following customers, et cetera, that's sufficient. So pick one or two channels that you like and where your customers are, and focus on those. The other channels, you might have a few other channels as well, and maybe you just have a good profile on there. Maybe you post, once or twice a week or a few times a month. That might be good enough. So at least you have sort of some presence on several of these. I have a link here down at the bottom, which is a really good article about which social media platform is best for my business. Again, we want to think about it from our customer's perspective, not, hey, I like Facebook or Instagram and I'm on it, but are your customers on it? That's what we want to know. The other thing is, a tip is, on social media, any comments and questions, you really need to respond right away. If people ask a question on, something you post, for example, and they don't hear a response from you, they're not going to ask any more questions. So, this is something pretty important to really think about. If anybody does post a question or something like that, try and get on it quickly, and that will really help. Not only for that person asking the question, but for the other people that see that post, they better see that you're responding as well. Okay, so a couple tools to know in terms of sort of managing your social media, and especially, if you're on, one or, two or three or four or more, you really want to think about getting some sort of social media tool. Perhaps Hootsuite is very common, very powerful tool. You can manage everything without having to log into different social platforms. There's another thing called Promo Republic, which is similar, but it also gives you content ideas and tools to help make social posts. So really, really interesting stuff. And then, Constant Contact has a really powerful social scheduling system built in that every customer of Constant Contact can use as soon as they're a customer. Very, very powerful system. So again, these are just a couple of tools to kind of help you manage this, social media stuff, so that you don't get overwhelmed.
Hey, Erik, sorry, my
Sure.
internet cut for a second, and there was a couple questions that I just wanted to kind of. Social media,
Okay.
what are your thoughts about transacting business on these platforms like Pinterest and Instagram versus some of the other things that you've talked about already about your own website?
Well, again, absolutely. Wherever you can, get your, meet your customer and get them to buy something or schedule an appointment or whatever, absolutely, go for it. I know some, businesses that get a lot of business from, like Pinterest or, through other, other platforms like that. So absolutely, if you can, draw your crowd and make business happen, go to it. Again, there's no one way to do these things, So some people don't really like social media. Some people live on it. Everybody's different, but it can be very, very beneficial for people.
And I think the other piece is sort of a related question on that. How often should you be posting on social media to ensure that you get good SEO?
Well, it really won't affect, well, it'll have a little effect on your SEO if you're, getting people to go back to your website from those things. But, it depends by different platform, right? So, Instagram or TikTok, you're posting literally like 3 to 5 times a day. That's just the way those things are. LinkedIn, maybe once or twice a week if you can. It varies, and it also varies on the quality of your content. What kind of things are you posting? And if it's really high quality information and, maybe like, how to video tutorial kind of things, or, stuff like that, or, you can post pretty frequently, and it's going to be helpful. But, if you don't really have anything good to post, it's not worth it to post something that's not really good, especially on like Facebook and, Instagram. And, if you post something and people are not interacting with your posts, those companies are going to show your posts less. They're going to show them to less people. So you've got to get that interaction going, the social part of social media, to have any real significant success.
Got
Okay.
it.
So email is a critical tool for marketing. Social media is great, website's great, all that stuff is great, but email still is a very important tool, especially in some particular businesses, especially like B2B type businesses. As well as e-commerce, right? So, e-commerce should have a lot of automated communications about, think about Amazon. As soon as you buy something, you get a confirmation email, then you get information about, when is it being packed, when is it being shipped, when you're going to get it, things like that. And the thing with email is you do not need a big list. So we see this all the time. People are like, well, I have like 95 people on my contact list. Is it worth doing email marketing? Well, if you get 1 or 2 new customers a month, that might make a huge difference for you, right? And so, even with that small list, it will be very beneficial. And then the other thing is, you got to remember, and this is very important, customers don't remember you, right? Or they don't remember everything you do, or all your different products or services or things like that. So there's always opportunity to, educate your current customers and, share more about what you do, especially for other products and services that they're not buying at the moment. And I'll talk about this a little bit more in a few minutes. So these are sort of 3 of the big email marketing tools that are out there. There's also obviously Salesforce and HubSpot and Infusionsoft or Keep, which, those are big CRM systems, but they also do email marketing. So there's a lot of good tools out there that you can use to do this. Okay.
Erik, we had a question from a client who actually emailed us ahead of this about that. Is
Okay.
it better to use some of these automations or send it personalized emails, like if you are actually sending out a personal email?
There are different ways to use email. So there's a lot to it, but you should have a mix of both. Especially for e-commerce, it should all be automated, right? All those emails you get from Amazon or Walmart or Target or whatever, those are all automated, but they're very, very important. Okay. But there's other uses for email. There's email newsletters. There's one really important strategy of email marketing is sort of, well, I guess you would call it customer lead generation, but it's basically like in certain industries, you might meet with a potential customer, but to get that customer, you have to knock out one of your competitors. So if you're, a CPA firm or a law firm or a insurance firm or, other kind of business services like that, businesses are probably already using those services from somebody else. And so you need to knock somebody else out to get that business. And there's some really great strategies to, in sales follow-up to educate your customers, stay in front of them, all that sort of stuff. So there's lots of different ways to use email, and we may all hate email, but it still works, and there's still a really important place in email marketing in your overall marketing strategy. Okay.
And I think
So
this addresses the question that someone asked, is email spamming? And I think the answer is it actually does work. People do want to be on top of things, and it does work in terms of marketing, is what you're saying.
Well, and again, as long as you aren't a spammer, right? If you're buying lists, or if you're just, scouring the internet to grab email addresses and you're throwing into your email list, that is spamming, and that's not good. And we don't do that. It's, people that are your customers or your potential customers, or past customers, or things like that, that's how you should think of email marketing. It's not email selling, it's email marketing. So very important distinction there in terms of campaigns. So now let's move away from sort of the regular communications to promotional stuff. So so promotional stuff could be sales, right? Just meaning discounting your price or something like that. But it could be other offers. So for example, free trials, free demos, free consultations, free, even free like haircuts. Say, hey, well, we'll give you a free haircut to come and try our business and hopefully get them as a long-term customer. But these are sort of campaigns that you're running that are lead gen campaigns, lead generation campaigns. And, this is because we want to get people to try our products and services. And so that's sort of how we are going to use these promotional campaigns. And people obviously always like to get a sale, right? They like to get a discount on things to, feel good about what they're buying. So that's also an important part of this stuff. Okay. So I just mentioned this stuff. So we've got sort of that kind of idea. Now, this is still part of the sort of the promotional campaign stuff, but in terms of sort of, most people have heard of the sales funnel. And so, we're basically trying to get people that don't know us to get, bring them sort of into our sales process, and then sort of get them to know what we do, get them to, request a quote or something like that. And then we get them to buy. So there's a process to this for every business, whether you kind of have it thought out or not, in terms of how do you attract new customers from people that you don't know, and then sort of drive them through your sales process. And then importantly, your special offers, your promotions will be the type of offer or campaign that you use is going to vary for which kind of customer you're targeting. Are you trying to get people into the top of your sales process, top of your funnel, or are you trying to get people that sort of know you, that are on your email list to make a decision, to request a quote, to buy something? So there's different strategies and different types of campaigns you're going to use depending on where
Mm-hmm.
the customer is in the sales process.
And I think this is an important part to emphasize, because so many of our customers at Pursuit come to us and they say, well, where should I market? And I think many of you and I have talked about this, and many of our advisors talk to our clients about what's your sales process look like, because marketing and sales work together. They're not independent, but they are both important to have processes for.
Yep, absolutely. And if you don't know your customers well enough in terms of where are they and what are they looking for and all that kind of thing, you better spend some time going to find out and talking to customers, because that's how you're going to be very successful. The best companies out there know their customers extremely well, and they know when they need things, they know what they need, they know how they want to buy them, what kind of price points are going to drive more sales. These are things you have to know about your customers if you're going to be successful. So in the typical sales funnel, we've sort of added a final step to this. So the step 6 is, once you get somebody to buy from you, you really need to take them back to the top of the funnel and put them in again, because we want to make sure we encourage repeat purchases, and we also want to generate cross-selling opportunities, meaning get our customers to buy something else from us. So that's a really important part of this, and selling to a current customer is much easier than selling to somebody who's not a customer, because presumably they've already gone through the sales process, they've already used your products and services, they know you did a good job, hopefully you did a good job, and then now it's go back up to the top and say, hey, thanks for being a customer. Did you know we also do this? We also have these, we do this. And I have a couple of really good stories about companies that really didn't know that their customers really didn't know what they did, and it's amazing. So never assume that you know your customer well, because they are always changing. Your competitors are changing, the environment's changing. So this is something that's really, really important. So here's sort of the analyze step, the data step, the important step here in terms of, okay, we've got a website, we have some visitors coming in. Now, how do we keep them on our site longer, and how do we get them to find more information, and how can we help them through that sales process? So one of the things we need to think about is, how do we get people to stay on our website longer? We want them to, read blog articles, look at our past work, read more about our services, maybe get on our mailing list or request a consultation, or all of these things are things that we can work towards, but you've got to understand the data of what is actually happening now on your website and with your customers, and what are they most interested in. And you are only going to figure that out by either talking to your customers or looking at Google Analytics data. And I'll tell you, most customers, most small businesses don't do this part. Okay, and this is where you can really make a really significant difference in terms of improving your sales. So this part is the not fun part, but it's the part that will really pay the bills. So here we have a whole class on how to use Google Analytics and all that stuff, but this is kind of what it looks like, some of the data and that it will provide you. You just have to kind of figure out how to read it. But it answers questions like, how did my last campaign perform compared to other campaigns? What did we learn from our website visitor data, on this particular campaign? What did people find most interesting or valuable on our website? Things like that. So Again, Google Analytics is free. It's a tremendously powerful system and very, very important in this whole process. So to dig a little deeper, here's a couple of specific things you can look at. This is the behavioral overview report. And so you can see sort of users over time, number of page views over time in that top grid, the total page views, unique page views, average time on a page, the bounce rate, meaning when people come to your website and just look at whatever page they look at and then they leave, that's called a bounce. And then also our exit rate. So where are people leaving our website from? So these are really important analytics to know and to measure on time, and they'll give you some really significant information in terms of opportunities to improve your website. Importantly, down sort of a little bit in the middle, a little on the right there, this report shows you the top 10 pages, really all of them, but the top 10 pages in terms of which pages on your website are getting the most visitors. And you may be very surprised by which pages people look at the most. So again, you can find out all that type of information in Google Analytics or in Google Search Console if you're using that. So those are some of the tools. So and that is basically the process here. So we've kind of gone through everything. Just so you know, we do free marketing consultations if you guys are interested. And so that's it. And I got 5 minutes to spare. I hope I didn't go too fast over anything, but if there's any questions or anything, we'll happy to answer them.
So a few quick questions here that we're getting there is just because we ended on Google Analytics, this was something there. How can I learn about that? I mean, obviously, we highly recommend taking a class. I know, Eric, you have one available, I think, through your website, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And just for the folks that are in the basics, Google does provide some basic training on their website. So if you want to start there and then get more in depth, that would be a good place to start. I always recommend every single one of our clients to at least know about the options there and when they're ready to really learn about it, because that is a key thing to actually get some information. How do we start with Google? And this is actually a really good question, Eric. I know a lot of people say my Google Analytics is empty. How do I get started? If you could just talk a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so it's really easy to set up. So once you create a Google Analytics account, which is free again, you get a link to install on your website. So you just add that single link onto your website and that's it. That's all you got to do. And then, your website or Google Analytics will now start tracking visitor information from the day you install that tag. And so if you think you have Google Analytics, but you have no data, the tag is probably incorrect or installed incorrectly. So it should work easily. If you need any help, we can take a quick look at your website and see. Yeah, so hopefully that helps.
Got it. I find the Google tutorial on this, it's a video that is step-by-step, is very easy for those folks that have never installed their Google. It literally shows you the steps on different platforms, so highly recommend that one. So a lot of people are saying, yeah.
I was just going to say, Malini, I can find a good link like you're mentioning, or if you want to send me that link you have, sure. And I can go back and put it into these slides before I send you these slides to send out to everybody.
Great. So a lot of people are saying thank you. How can we contact for a consultation? Do you want to just flip forward to your contact information, Eric?
Yep, there you go. It's on does like the first or second slide, and this I think is the last slide. So it's at the very bottom there. It's got my email address and our phone number, and that's our website. So feel free to contact us anytime, and we'll schedule a time to talk to you, and we'll be happy to do that.
Okay, and then I'll just sort of wrap up here because there's a couple questions around this. I know a lot of people on our calls are very small businesses, and a lot of times, sometimes these things seem a little scary and seem like something for like a 200-person company. I think the key here is that you want us to start somewhere, right? Like, so at least have a website to start with. I know a lot of these things can seem a little overwhelming, but the hope is that you build a process, right? And that is the important thing that you want to take away from this, is what I'm really hearing, Erik, right? You don't have to do absolutely everything all the time.
No, no, absolutely. And like a good thing to do is, definitely look at your website, and even have customers and friends of yours look at your website and say, well, how can we improve it? Right? Maybe there's some easy things you can improve. I would definitely start email marketing. So that's pretty easy. And then, maybe some social media stuff. And just kind of see how it goes. Maybe start posting, see if you can try and drive some visitors to your website. Kind of see if you can start seeing what works and that kind of thing. And again, your email marketing, the easiest way to start is just to send out a short email newsletter kind of thing that just says, hey, we wanted to thank our customers for, working with us over the years. And, by the way, did you know that we do this, 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 and this? And maybe here's a couple of testimonials and link to your website and your contact information. And that's it. And maybe try and, do something like once a month or something like that via email. And start trying to grow your email list, start trying to ask for people's email and things like that. And, again, every step forward is progress. And so, just keep trying to move forward, do a couple new things and see how it goes. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will your business be.
Great. Well, I know we're hitting the 11 o'clock hour and we've gotten through a lot of information, Erik. I want to thank all of our attendees for being here and for those wonderful questions. Our Pursuit website has a lot of information on digital marketing, much of which has been provided by Erik. So that can be a resource if you want some more background information. And I know Erik is really open to consultations from our clients as well as our attendees. We will try to get you some updated links with the slides on there so you have the resources for you, and a recording of the website will be available. I want to thank you, Erik, for your time and your expertise. I know you've been a real resource to a lot of our small businesses within the Pursuit portfolio, and we continue to like working with you because you have understood that the small business is not as big as a big business, but you know how to take them from small to bigger. So thank you so much for your time, and thanks everyone for attending today.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here and look forward to the next one. Thank you.